Apologies everyone. This is going to be muddled. A mishmash of what comes to mind. Whilst I use speech to text to let it out, I'll be converting my speech to text back to speech. I haven't the time to edit the text that my speech brings forth. Prepare yourself for the absolute worst grammar, punctuation and mechanics. Also, certain words' spelling had to be exaggerated to get the app to pronounce them properly. I thought I'd mention that the term real-time video was used throughout our last upload. And it's also used when necessary in this upload. Due to the app we're using, this app will sometimes only pronounce the word that's spelled L-I-V-E, as in, I live here. So instead of having the app speak about a YouTube live stream, we thought we should replace it with real-time video. I hope this clears it up for Despicable Me's current main Muppet. Right while I'm rambling, I want to mention that we absolutely haven't participated in anybody's real-time videos as Dottie. Or as any other account that has been accused of being Dottie. By the way, we're out of the country, preparing for a 12-day event, an event we've looked forward to since the beginning of June. But COVID-19 has continued to delay the event. To be honest, this upload is partly to give vent to the absurd thoughts on Dottie. To those of you in the circle whom we were trying to get to publicly speak up about Despicable Me's terror. The people who are fully aware of the terror that Despicable Me is capable of. The same people whom have heavily supported the cause alongside of us. We know what you think of Despicable Me. And we know that those politics won't allow for you to publicly support us. We have watched the worst of you twist the truth out of all recognition. But even worse, you have made the ugly truth look perfectly reasonable. You aren't brave enough to publicly share how you feel. Those politics won't allow for that. It's easier to rubbish people like us and accuse my partner and myself of being people we most definitely are not. The following is obviously beating a dead horse. We weren't even friendly with anybody we've been accused of. But in the past, there are a few we've been accused of that we were fond of. Back when those politics allowed for that. Dottie was never an enemy of Despicable Me. We came as Dottie to try and help her. But it's become quite obvious she has no conscience and cannot be helped. It was Despicable Me who publicly threatened, harassed, intimidated, and manipulated the accused, telling them it would be in their best interest to admit they are Dottie. And if they are not Dottie, they would want to go to Dottie immediately and get Dottie to out themselves. Or the accused would be publicly destroyed. Right, that brings to mind. Just whom have we supported? Which exact ones have we supported? We've only used people in the circle as examples to show what bloody hypocrites many of you are. We've used the lady who left the circle until the cruel and usual prosecutor and judge, none other than Despicable Me, dragged her back, kicking and screaming, to terrorize her during a real-time video public stoning. We've used another incognito channel owner as an example when Despicable Me publicly stoned her via a real-time video, accusing her of being other people. We've used a lady as an example who was terrorized by Despicable Me about a miscarriage. We've used another lady as an example when Despicable Me created an account using stolen photos to terrorize her family. We've used a lady as an example who Despicable Me viciously publicly attacked on and off for a very long time, attempting to terrorize her and destroy her character by making many accusations against her, with just one of the many accusations being that she is a crackhead. We've used someone else as an example, someone who Despicable Me publicly ripped to pieces via a real-time video public stoning, as someone who abuses her children via drunk driving. We've used the group as an example who claim their mission is to protect children online, when Despicable Me publicly did her ultimate best to make the group seem to be a danger to children. We've used the bloodbath video as an example, the Sims video created by Despicable Me, where she terminated many of the people she used to call friends. We've used the sicko porn video as an example. A Sims video created by Despicable Me, where she made the star of the porno a lady old enough to be her mum. We've used someone else as an example, who Despicable Me accused of pedophilia for posting a photo online, a photo that quite obviously wasn't at all what she claimed it to be. We have used many examples of Despicable Me's terror, and there are many more acts of terror to use as examples. We've been forced to use these examples of her terror only because too many of you supporting the cause are goddamn hypocrites. You know that Despicable Me goes round and round in a never-ending circle, committing one act of evil after another. But you selfishly use her for your agenda. Many of you only see what you want to see. Some of you are just muppets to Despicable Me, whilst others of you, heavily supporting the cause, you're so lost in the cause that your hearts have turned cold. When you say that Dottie has shown support for people in the circle, you couldn't possibly mean but 3 people. Because we have only spoken up for 3 ladies in the circle. 2 of those ladies cried out to us for help after Despicable Me used her channel to viciously and publicly attack them, making them guilty of being Dottie, the 3rd lady. We only spoke up for her weeks after Despicable Me shared the DM thread, where she used the lady's family to terrorize her and her family and myself. And the reason we did that was because Despicable Me continued to say that it was our fault that the lady was terrorized. Also, it was highly important to bring more attention to just how cruel and usual Despicable Me's behind-the-scenes terror is. Because some of the people she has terrorized behind the scenes are terrified to speak up against her. Despicable Me makes certain of that. What she's done, again and again, behind the scenes is proof of how conniving and calculated she is. And just how manipulative she is. Behind the scenes her behavior is even more ruthless. Her behind the scenes work to try and scare her victims into submission is often more devastating than her bloody, public despicable behavior. And you should keep in mind, a lot of the abhorrent behavior she later admits to, she carried out with fake accounts. You've seen how bloody evil she can be with her fake accounts. But there is something even more devastating when she is working behind the scenes as herself. The way she carefully and skillfully uses information she has stored on you. She is an evil mastermind. However, if by supporting people in the circle, you meant that we spoke up on about Despicable Me's cruel and unthinkable real-time video, and the horror that came after that, anyone capable of showing empathy should have done the same as we did. Anyone who paid attention to the fake informant thread would understand the bigger picture, and understand why we are here as Dottie. You would also understand our absolute shock at the bloody cruel and unthinkable mocking of suicide by so many people. We were absolutely horrified by all of that. We knew that those politics were being used to assist Despicable Me's evil doings. But all the public support was absolutely goddamn unthinkable. Like we've said, we have the entire fake informant thread screen recorded. Because Despicable Me may have publicly shared it after removing some of the DM exchanges, like she did when she shared the thread with certain people. We will continue to share the full thread with everyone else who requests it. Please watch our last video to better understand the fake informant DM thread. Other than that, we've only denied being those we have been accused of. The fact that we showed concern for the individuals who were being mocked about attempted suicides should have made people realize that we have empathy. Instead, it was another excuse for blinkered individuals to turn on us relentlessly, spreading more vile lies on us. We haven't lied as Dottie, yet many of you have invented many lies on us. But then you seem shocked that we would react to your vile lies. Most of you have done the exact same thing when you were lied on. But we're apparently supposed to have morals of a saint, and turn the other cheek to the many, many attacks on us. We are absolutely not saints. But what we are is 100% human. How any of you could call us a fake account or a troll account is absolutely absurd. We are an incognito account, just like many other accounts. For example, the 6-legged winged insects accounts, and the group who claim their cause is keeping children safe online. We'll tweet examples of fake accounts and troll accounts very soon. Despicable Me and Frosty are well versed on fake trolling accounts. And even worse, they both have used their many fake accounts to terrorize whomever it benefited them to terrorize. Despicable Me and her sidekick abomination Frosty are inhumane. There is so much that you lot are ignoring. Choosing to ignore. Which makes what's happening even worse. The public stonings. The accusations. The lies. The humiliations. The behind-the-scenes terror. Despicable Me's current main Muppet. He's publicly stated that Despicable Me has never publicly stoned anyone. Yet he wonders why we didn't take his real-time videos on Dottie seriously. The Muppet can't even follow his chat during his real-time videos, so did he completely fail to comprehend our last upload? Or was he just putting on a super dumbass performance for his Muppet tier known as Despicable Me? We realize that he isn't highly intelligent. But he was daft as a goddamn bush on his first real-time video on Dottie. That was the only one we've had time to view in its entirety. But we've skipped around on what came next. And the fucking egg and his Joker are goddamn hypocrites. When Despicable Me's Muppets finally wake up and accept how much wool is being pulled over their eyes, we will be relieved. However, we aren't speaking about the people who heavily support the cause. Because those who heavily support the cause are fully aware of Despicable Me's evil doings. And they choose to assist her because of their agenda. It's those politics that control them. They know they need Despicable Me on their side. And that's because they know that the only other option is having Despicable Me return to terrorizing them again. And even worse, having Despicable Me return to supporting that family again. We are not the enemy in all of this. You will all do well to remember that when the absolute truth is exposed. But those politics have caused many of you to view us as a threat. It's quite obvious those of you heavily supporting the cause are far too interested in keeping Despicable Me on your side, so our efforts are lost with you. Right, it's those goddamn politics. As for Despicable Me's Muppets, trying to reach them as Dottie wasn't really an interest to us. They're entirely too weak. Despicable Me's hold on them is far too strong. I was absolutely only supposed to interact as Dottie with Despicable Me and those who we have supported the cause with from the start. Obviously, I'm beating a dead horse again. But we have heavily supported the same cause as the group whom claim to be here to help keep children safe online. We never switched sides, and we are still right there with them and the rest of you who heavily support the cause. We have made that clear from the start of Dottie. Again, we came as Dottie to try and help Despicable Me. But also, we came to bring light to the fact that all of us have used Despicable Me for far too long. It's time to stop. Because what we have done has allowed far too much evil to continue. All of us have highly contributed to Despicable Me's evil doings. All for those politics. We understand that this circle is goddamn fucked up. It's full of troublemakers and it's obviously full of drama. It's full of people taking the piss. It's full of Muppets having their strings pulled by Despicable Me. It's full of mean arseholes and full of dumb arses. The circle is even full of bullies. But like we've said from the start, we aren't here as Dottie for any of that. That's life on social media for you. To make this clear, what people in the circle have done to others and vice versa is absolutely not why we are here as Dottie. We continue to tell you that, but you refuse to let it sink in. We are on about the powerful beast known as Despicable Me. The one whom draws in crowds, many who are weak and vulnerable and lonely. She is able to make you feel deeply loved, making you feel a part of something very special. But when it suits her, she quickly turns on you, and so do her loyal followers. She uses her channel for entirely too much evil, and she has done that for far too long. Too many people have suffered because of her. At times she seems a big lovable teddy bear. But she only cares about herself. She is a highly skilled emotional manipulator. The many, many cruel acts she has committed will only be added to if people don't stand up against her. Nobody else in this circle is capable of what she is capable of. Despite popular beliefs, most psychopaths aren't convicted criminals, or cold-blooded, or psychotic killers. Many psychopaths live successfully amongst the rest of us. using their personality traits to get what they want in life, usually at the expense of others. It's sometimes called successful psychopathy. In fact, some people are able to use their psychopathic traits, like charisma and boldness, to achieve professional success. Despicable Me twists everything for her own agenda. And like we've said, her agenda is only herself. She is entertaining and very charismatic. Online, she is unstoppable. Yet she carries on about how much she hates herself. And how powerless she feels. But that's only because of how she feels in the real world. Try to imagine. Just for a moment. Despicable Me. A psychopath with a highly creative intelligence. But having what people view her as in the real world, as being that of a nobody. And having that stop her from being successful with her psychopathy. In the real world, her psychopathy has only been successful with the people in her life who are very close to her. Other than having success with the people in the real world who are extremely close to her, she has felt weak most of her life. And just how much of her life has she spent at home? When she steps out of her home into the real world, she feels embarrassed, humiliated, and ridiculed. And that's why she claims to terribly hate herself. That's also why she feels powerless. When she is out for a meal, she feels as if people are looking at her, judging her, wondering why she's eating what she's eating. She can't even go to a shop without feeling ashamed of herself and feeling like people are staring at her, looking down on her. In the real world, she is stuck in a box of torment. Her own torment. She cares a very lot what people think of her, only because she fully understands that being successful with her psychopathy isn't possible when people don't respect her. In the real world, she realizes that she is looked down upon. She can't walk a mile in the real world without becoming out of breath and exhausted. However, in the comfort of her bed, during her real-time videos, she can walk 1,000,000 miles. She's a star with her crowd, she's a leader. She is the mothership to many, many lonely, weak, and vulnerable people. And that has allowed her to become the monster we now call the Beast. She thrives off of you feeling sorry for her. Everybody needs to stop feeling sorry for her. Stop enabling her. Think about this. How many people in your life have you known to maliciously act out with that much severe cruelty and torture on people, but still be loved by so many people? You treat her cruel torture as if she stepped on someone's toes by mistake. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we even fuck up horribly. But Despicable Me gets away with absolute obvious acts of terror. Again and again. Over and over. It's often just as obvious as having someone walk up to you and punch you as hard as they can. Directly in your stomach. Repeatedly. And other times, her terror isn't obvious at first. What she does and has done, over and over, again and again, is exactly like sneaking up on someone whilst they are asleep and punching them repeatedly in the stomach. Over and over. And over and over. Yet, she says sorry guys. And she's forgiven, exactly like I've said. As if she stepped on toes by mistake. And for those who don't forgive her, and for those who are cast out, they are deemed as rubbish, publicly tortured, and threatened, and guaranteed to get 100% blame for everything that Despicable Me claims they are guilty of. She is the only cruel tyrant in this circle, capable of terrorizing many, many people, whilst always coming back the lovable and respected Mama Bear. Loads of her terror has taken place behind the scenes and with many fake accounts. Everybody needs to think on about the many cruel and unthinkable evil acts she has committed. She is absolutely 100% despicable. Yet she is still thought of as simply the best by her many merry muppets. And for the people who know exactly what Despicable Me is, they are either too scared of her to speak up, or highly enjoying being entertained watching and or interacting, or using her for their agenda. You really need to think about what she continues to get away with. How many people do you know whom are able to get away with the unforgivable? Able to continue on with that much evil and be forgiven? Over and over. We understand, it's highly unlikely we could get through to her merry muppets with this upload. Actually, getting through to just one of her muppets would be a miracle. But those of you who heavily support the cause, it would do you well to remember how she tortured you, and your friends, and even your family. Despicable Me's behavior is absolutely that of someone with severe antisocial personality disorder. We understand that some of you in the circle are strong individuals. But many people in the circle are not strong at all. There are people terrified of her. The people she has a tight hold on, most of them aren't strong. For too long, she's been a highly successful psychopath in this circle. She's found an online world where she is finally responded to in a way that was never possible in the real world. She has far too much power, and that's because she makes the lonely, the weak, and the vulnerable feel like family. She makes them feel special and needed. Nobody else in the circle can do what she does, or get away with what she does, whilst remaining a star. Nobody. She is a brilliant psychopath, and that makes her bloody dangerous. Her dishonesty, callousness, guiltlessness, and poor impulse control is goddamn obvious. Despicable Me is a powerful beast. Online, she is able to deceive many, many people of her true nature. And that's because, when she feels she is in control, the big lovable teddy bear is what we see. At the moment, Despicable Me is feeling on top of the world. That's due to all the support she is receiving. But the moment she feels she is losing control, the real Despicable Me will take over. She can't stop, because she has no conscience. My vent is loads longer than what we are uploading today. It gets quite a bit more interesting, going in many different directions. But it's best we cut it here, saving the rest for later, so that it's not too terribly long. We have been incredibly busy over the last week. But we have a very lot to catch up on. On Twitter too. Speak soon.